Hello and welcome. If we haven't met, I'm Molly Holly and I'm going live on my personal channel and my Elite Resonance page. So, over the last few days, I've been doing a mini series on self leadership. And the reason I've wanted to talk about self leadership is because I'm all about leading your life and being the leader of your life and making decisions to change the things you don't like about your life and do more of the things you do enjoy about your life. So, the last 2 days, you can catch the replays. I spoke about responsibility versus blame, and I spoke about waiting versus deciding. And so today I want to talk about courage, because the thing is with courage is that courage isn't developed, it's remembered. You remember you have courage. We all have access to courage. And so I want to tell you a story today, keep it a bit more lighthearted, that really ties in these themes of courage, permission, responsibility. So back, what year are we in? 2026. So maybe, yeah, I think it's maybe 5 years ago, I used to do firefighting. And this was pre-Rona, so feels like a lifetime ago. But essentially, recently at that time on the news, there had been, I don't know if any of you are in Australia, you would know about this. Anyone that's global, maybe you would have seen this as well, where a lot of koalas were being saved because they'd gotten caught in a fire. And so I was on night patrol this particular night. We were patrolling a fire ground. Fortunately, there wasn't much fire. It had been through, it had rained, and it's 1 a.m. at this point. So I'm on a truck. I'm like squished into the middle. I've got the seat. There's like 5 of us in this tiny truck, and I've got the seat no one else wants, right? Because it like comes up in the middle, like it's a bit shorter because of like the engine underneath. And so I'm sitting in the middle of the truck. There's two men either side. There's two people in the front seats, and I love it because you can just see out the front window. There's the big front window of the fire truck. So I'm sitting in the middle, just looking out, and on this road, it's pitch black. We're in the country. We're basically looking for any tree trunks that have like little bits of embers, so you can kind of like obviously see those in the dark. And so all I can see in front through the front windscreen is just like dirt road and trees. This is like 1 a.m. and for anyone that's done night shifts, like you know what it's like when like reality kind of starts warping a little bit. But we're driving along and then I suddenly see these two little eyes, like there's two eyes reflected in the headlights. And at this point, I'm so much less confident than I am now. And I'm the youngest, I'm the least experienced, I'm the only female. So I'm like, I can't say anything. I'm like, what do I say? I'm like, the driver's about to run over this animal. And so I just yell, stop. At the time, it sounded so loud to me, but I was like, stop, stop the truck. And we all pile out, and sure enough, on the side of the road, there's this little possum. And so, for anyone that's not from Australia, possums are essentially, they're kind of like maybe a cross between like a raccoon and a squirrel. And in the suburban areas, they're quite feral and aggressive and a bit like mangy. But in the bush, they're a lot healthier. Like they're kind of like cute and wild and not as aggressive because they're not needing to protect themselves as much. And so we all get out of the truck and there's this poor little possum, and it just looks like it's given up on life because it had obviously been hanging onto a tree when the fire came through, and its whiskers had been burnt, its hands had been burnt, and so it's just like sitting there on its own, just like, please run over me, like I'm done, I'm so done. And I took pity on the poor animal and I went over and I thought I was going to run away, but then I gave it some water, and it's like this possum's like this big, so I've got like the little lid from my water bottle, like feeding the possum, like, and it's so thirsty, like it's so thirsty. And I'm like, oh, we need to save it, but my captain's like, no, what are we going to do with it? And I'm just like, oh, okay, like, he's like, we're carrying on. We got like the rest of this road to drive. There's literally nothing going on. Like, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no fire at this point. The fire's gone. But I'm like, okay, fine. So we all go back into the truck. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm not giving up on this possum. Like, I'm going to figure out a way back to this possum. And it's like, you have to understand, like, there is no one around. Like, I can't drive manual, and any of the vehicles in this vicinity are all manual. Like, we're in the middle of nowhere. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to get back to this possum and save it. But in my mind, I'm like, just hang in there, buddy. Like, I'm coming back. And so we continue down the road, and you have to understand, like, I'm the kind of person that will walk into a shop and walk out and forget which, like, I don't know my lefts from rights. Like, forward is always north. Like, I have no navigation sense whatsoever. And so we're back in the truck, I'm back in the middle, and I'm looking at the road and we're driving along. Like, it's a dirt track in the bush, right? So I'm trying to keep track of where we are just in case I come back. And I'm like, okay, there's a rock there. Oh, and there's the tree. Okay, but there's another tree. But that rock's directly under that tree, but that rock's kind of to the side. So maybe that's a landmark. So maybe I just got to remember that particular tree. And then we drive a bit further and there's a tree hanging over the road. I'm like, okay, remember that tree. And we keep driving. What I didn't account for was that the road's obviously going to look different coming back the other way. And so we drive around a corner, we finally stop and we get out, and there's like the boss's boss there, and he has a ute. And I'm like, oh, maybe, like, do I, like, at this point, I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to actually speak to my boss's boss. And finally, I'm just like, you know what? Like, I can't sleep at night if I don't save this possum. Like, for whatever reason, I was just like, I can't live with myself. Like, it's still alive. It's still savable. And so I'm like, stuff it. Like, I don't care if I get in trouble. I don't care. And I go up to my boss's boss and I'm like, hi sir, can there's a possum that's burnt. And he's like, oh, I love animals. I'll take you. I was like, oh yes, like, yes. So I didn't wait for permission from my boss. I had the courage, and wait, there's more. So I was like, okay, sweet. We get in the vehicle, and one of my other teammates was like, hey, I really want to help as well. So, which is really interesting, right? Like, I was the only one that had spoken up at the time, but little did I know is there was other people that really wanted to speak up as well. And so it's interesting when you have the courage to speak up, to say something, how much it gives other people the courage to do the same as well. And so just give me a sec. And so my teammate is like, okay, I'm gonna come. And oh my God, I'm so happy, like, both of us went to get this possum, because we're driving back along the road and sure enough we get to a turn, which is actually a Y. And he's like, which way? And I'm like, oh, I actually don't know. The trees all look the same. And luckily my teammate is like, that way. And so this is like an hour later, and I'm like, please, please, like, still be alive. Like, I really hope it's still there. Like, this is not like a complete waste of time. We finally get there, and the poor possum's still sitting there waiting to be run over, and we bundle it up and we take it back to the station where the paramedic becomes a vet for the night and wraps bandages around its snout and around its paws. And this isn't really relevant to the topic I'm talking about today, but it's still a nice highlight to this story, is because there wasn't actually a lot happening that night on the fire ground. I later found out that the saving of the possum actually made it all the way up the ranks to the management team that was managing the whole operation, and that was the highlight for the night. And so, to kind of tie it back into this element of courage and self-leadership, is in that moment, like, now looking back, the current me would think, like, of course I'll speak up, of course I say something. But for me at that point in time, it was actually quite scary and it required a lot of courage. But because I had that courage, I was really proud of myself. Like, even I don't know if I would have been out of sleep, maybe, and I wouldn't have had this story either if I hadn't spoken up. But I also didn't wait for permission. I didn't ask for permission to get permission, right? So when I asked my captain's captain, I didn't ask, like, can I ask him? I was just like, stuff it, like, I'm probably gonna know, I'm just gonna ask. And so I stepped up, I stepped forward, I didn't wait for permission. And then after like asking, like, can we go save the possum, then it was my responsibility to figure out where it was to help actually get it and take it to safety. And so then it was my responsibility. And that sometimes I think that's what my captain at the time didn't want to do. He didn't want to be responsible for saving this animal or having to look after this animal. And so it was up to me to then take that responsibility. And so there was courage, there was permission, and there was responsibility with that. Which is why self-leadership really is, it's really important to have to create the life you want and to do things that you are proud of and to choose the path that you want to live as opposed to waiting for someone else to give you permission to do so. It does require having courage, it does require then being responsible for the actions you do take, but it is so much more of a life that you can be proud of and excited by, which is what I so want for as many people as possible, which is why I even bothered to come on here and talk about a topic like self-leadership, because it is something that really separates people, that really separates the people that have what they want from the people that don't have what they want. And so if this resonated, of course, you can always check out my Lead Yourself First offer, which I will continue to talk more about. But that's really about remembering and reconnecting with that inner authority and that inner courage so that you can live the life of your dreams, so you can lead your legacy and lead your life. Okay, that is all for today. Thank you so much for being here, and yeah, I hope to see you next time.